Okay, my next video. So, two videos. Maybe I'll make 3 videos today because this is such a complex material, so complex. And I'm trying to bring this across to the world without people falling asleep. But if you fall asleep while I talk, then that is good too, because that means your body feels relaxed listening to me and feels safe listening to me and feels like I am not judging you or I am not wanting anything from you. And I have maybe it's monotonous, and I want to be monotonous in the way I talk because I want it for myself and I want it for other people. I want I want this to be relaxed. I think that is the most important thing. We can't be talking about anything in an agitated way or with some kind of agenda or with some kind of struggle. There cannot be any struggle whatsoever. So this is the ground zero of conversation. We have to quit all struggle. So I'm not struggling with a religious person. I used to struggle a lot. I fell back into it again and again and again with all kinds of people and thinking I am right, and yes, I had a point, but it doesn't go anywhere when I struggle. So all of this debating and writing in chat rooms, on Facebook, all of these things, I would say something, it would be incredibly volatile for people, the kind of stuff that I say, because then they came after me in the chat room and they said, "You are trying to destroy our gods." Oh, that subject in itself is so complex, There, and that's why Jiddu Krishnamurti did not want to be the head of the Theosophical Society, the Messiah, the the messenger, the infinite cosmos himself, which he was. He didn't want to be another guru. He didn't want to be in that position where, he's the father and he's taking care of all of us, and nobody needs to do anything about it. It's like, oh, I just go to my guru and he will take care of it. That's why humanity has written itself into such monstrosities of wars over religion, over ideology, over cultural differences, over even over football games, over division, adherence to a guru or group. So this identification, and that's what they got into very, very, very deeply. So my message across the dimensions to them is that I always felt like I needed to say is it's mental illness. And David Chainberg brought that in as well. David Chainberg was in the discussions a lot, and he was a psychiatrist. He also died in the 90s, same age as David Bohm. Jiddu died about 10 years before them. And they talked for many, many decades about these subjects. And David Schoenberg would always bring in this element of people are suffering. What can they do? But they suffer. So they want to numb themselves before they get to actually getting in touch with that what drills is what bores itself up like a corkscrew, the pain from underneath, the pain from the past. So that's why he said people are afraid, what can they do about this? And Jiddu Krishnamurti said, yes, but why are they so afraid of getting in touch with that pain that's underneath, that is pushing up from underneath? Why are they so afraid? Why are they so afraid of that they will act it out with gurus, religion, numbing themselves? That's why Al Gore said religion is a drug. It creates different chemistry in the brain, but it's a drug nevertheless. It's something that numbs people, that it's something that distracts people from taking responsibility. So just as a drug numbs people and distracts people away from taking responsibility, and all of this is dangerous. All of that is dangerous. But actual substances, there are substances out there that are so dangerous that it would actually be better not to exist at all than in a situation like this. It would be better, and that's also a very controversial subject. It goes because the ego is very, very volatile with that subject. The ego is terrified of non-existence, and and I know this not just from theory, from reading other people's works, but I know this from my own personal observations. And I've gathered enough observations now to have a lifetime or lifetimes of knowledge about this particular field of how volatile people are and how volatile the ego is, and how the ego is absolutely terrified to the core of non-existence. Even if non-existence, it would just happen through no pain at all. Okay, so that the ego is still absolutely terrified of this. It must be perceived as an abyss of some monstrous proportions or something. And I know abyss. I had abyss dreams. I literally had falling into an abyss. But that also, means, oh, I'm afraid because it's gonna hurt, right? It's gonna hurt before I'm knocked out of consciousness. So falling down into an ocean enclave from a very, very high mountaintop cliff plateau. So it was dark at night, and I could see the ocean way underneath, and there were rock formations, like many shores have these very sharp and very hostile, inhospitable rock formations, different rocks, large rocks that some of them are sharp like a knife, and they are scattered around down in little enclaves, and there's a rocky shore above and high mountain tops that people climb up on, and then they look down and into that shoreline with all the rocks. And so I had a dream about this at night, falling into this abyss. And it's a symbolic dream because I have fallen into that abyss of emotions many, many times in my life. And it's a long story, of course. I also knew that an escape is not possible from it, and that has to do with what I brought into this lifetime, of course, and the majority of people have not brought that into their lifetimes because a lot of people are first-time souls. They have not existed before. They come from the stream of sorrow, as Jiddu Krishnamurti was describing, the stream of sorrow that is an outer dimensional stream. Okay, so it's a different dimension. It's neither good nor bad. So that can't be attributed with negativity or hell or something like this. The stream of sorrow is a stream of, it's just a lack of orientation. Like there's confusion of where do I go from here. So this like a mental fog or an energetic fog of confusion. So confusion is a very bad mental state. Confusion is a state of total helplessness, where people are, where they're confronted with meaninglessness, sort of like they feel nothing makes sense. Everything is painful. So when you have an orientation, when you know, oh, I can see the end of the tunnel, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, then your journey through life starts to make sense. Then you see, oh, okay, so this is where I have to go to, this is my path, okay? And even if it's hard right now, that what I'm dealing with, the pain and all of this, I can feel it. I can feel my way through. I can see the end of the tunnel, and I can feel my way through, and I just face what I'm facing in the moment, kind of like in Mozart's Magic Flute, the two romantic lovers, Papagena and Papageno, Pamina and Tamino, walking through hell, walking through the inferno, but they had love. So here again, the theme, the most important element in existence is love, and love not in a romantic way, although Mozart has given it these attributions. Mozart was a little bit, we have to understand Mozart, the person, where he's coming from with this. But it's also much, much bigger than that. It's when you're going through hell, obviously you're not thinking about romance. You're thinking about, there's the other person who can hold my hand. Okay. And that's, so he meant it also in that way, the love that just dominates over all this tremendous suffering. And that puts tears into my eyes, because it's such a large subject that words will never do it justice, So that's true love, True love, it doesn't matter who that other being is. It doesn't matter if it's your romantic partner, your wife, husband, your dog, your horse, I'll make another part. So